أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سأل سائل بعذاب واقع للكافرين ليس له دافع من الله ذي المعارج. تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة فاصبر صبرا جميلا إنهم يرونه بعيدا ونراه قريبا يوم تكون السماء كالمهل وتكون الجبال كالعهن ولا يسأل حميم حميما يبصرونهم يود المجرم لو يفتدي من عذاب يومئذ ببنيه وصاحبته وأخيه وفصيلته التي تؤويه ومن في الأرض جميعا ثم ينجيه كلا إنها لظى نزاعة للشوى تدعو من أدبر وتولى وجمع فأوعى إن الإنسان خلق هلوعا إذا مسه الشر جزوعا وإذا مسه الخير منوعا إلا المصلين الذين هم على صلاتهم دائمون والذين في أموالهم حق معلوم للسائل والمحروم والذين يصدقون بيوم الدين والذين هم من عذاب ربهم مشفقون إن عذاب ربهم غير مأمون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
لأجل إمام صاحب العصر والزمان صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين. أما بعد، قال الله جل وعلا في كتابه المجيد: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنه من سليمان وإنه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. الله عز وجل many times in the Quran al-Kareem, He gives us the narratives of prior prophets. You find that the prose in the Quran, either it's deep in the past or something that has been revealed as a result of something that occurred in the present, in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. And sometimes He gives us the things to come, prophecy or the speech, even to the extent of the speech of people in Jannah. In the Quran al-Kareem, we know that there are 114 chapters, surah. 113 of them begin with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Every Muslim knows this. This is the ABCs of our religion. But the scholars point out that there are 114 instances of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, except one surah, Surah Al-Bara'a, Bara'atun min Allahi wa Rasulihi, min alladhina ahadtum min al-mushrikeen. He doesn't begin this particular surah with a basmala. But you find in a surah referring to Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam. And Nabi Sulaiman is not just a Nabi, he's a Malik, he's a king. He has a kingdom that is greater than any other kingdom that this human existence has seen from the beginning until the very end. Even though Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi of his status is more deserving of such a kingdom, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He queried the Prophet on this through Jibreel, He said, I'd rather be a abd and a Rasul, I'd rather be a humble servant of yours, and he refused this kingdom. Al-Muhim, Sulaiman salamullahi alayhi has a kingdom, and this kingdom has the authority, not just silver and gold and jewels and land and structures and power, Jalal. He has authority over the unseen world. So when He orders the jinn to do something, they do it. He can speak bird, asfur. He can actually speak the languages of the animals. We have in our narrations that when He and His convoy would travel, they could travel on ghuyum, on clouds. This is the mystical nature of the kingdom of Sulaiman salamullahi alayhi. And when he came to the knowledge that a queen who has a kingdom, or rather queendom, and they were worshippers of the sun, he says to one of his servants, send a letter unto Bilqis. And when this letter is delivered, they query, who is this from? And they say, innahu min Sulaiman wa innahu bismillahir rahmanir rahim. The basmala in our religion has a supreme position. We are told when we were young children that the basmala is the beginning of every action. This is a recommendation of the Prophet across the board of all Muslimin. The basmala has the power not only to create blessing in your life, not only to begin a letter if you are the king of creation, even to the extent with Isa ibn Maryam salamullahi alayhi, before he steps and walks on water, they asked him, how do you do this? He says with the utterance of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So really, it's not just a phrase. We're not expecting to walk on water when we leave tonight. What's the expectation? The expectation is to have a bit more depth of understanding. You see, the biggest barrier between us and Allah Azza wa Jal happens to be language. And you might think this is such a trivial thing. Really, Ya Allah, really what can prevent me from you is just understanding grammar and syntax and meanings. Yes. Why? Because we said last night, the reality of words is that when you say words to people, they do something to that heart. They have power. The Christians have this phrase in their religion, the power of the word. Why sayings? There's a reason why they're so effective on people. There is a reason why sages throughout history have remained. It's because of their words, when you read them, they have inherent power. It's not just ink on a page. And it requires a bit of heart, a bit of opening. We said that when your mother says, I love you, it softens. There is a reaction to these words. That's why when people hear harsh words and they can brave criticism and they can live a public life, we say they are strong people. Why? Because energies are thrown their way and they have built a tough skin. They've built a defense. They're able to repel those energies. We don't think of it this way, that this person repels the energy of words. We just think this person has a character, they have charisma. But there is a deep underbelly behind all of this. And you find Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, it's translated I mean, when you receive the first translation of the Quran al-Kareem, and it says, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Then you ask yourself, what does gracious mean? The funny thing with English is we use it, we don't know the meaning of a lot of our words. It's like, okay, gracious. Merciful, what's merciful? We know what it looks like. We can say this person is being gracious, but we can't define it. Not only that, is gracious the best translation of Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim? These words are similar. They're from the same root. So inshallah, very briefly, we're going to skim through. Let's not mistake this for an Arabic lecture. Definitely not. When you go to the Hawza Almiya, you will find that in the Hawza, they will spend 2 weeks on a word. And they'll dig, and they'll dig. This is the activity of the scholar. This is not part of our purview. For us, at least, we have a nice, deep understanding that when we go to pray, we said yesterday, Allahu Akbar has such a beautiful meaning that Allah means the one who bewilders the intellect by His greatness. Allah is the one that the heart naturally goes towards when you're in hardship. We also said that there are no atheists when the plane is crashing. Every heart goes to Allah. Everyone appreciates this name, Allah. And then we said, Akbar, Akbaru min an yusaf, He's greater than you can ever ascribe to Him. In other words, He's greater than the mind and all of existence. He's not a physical thing that you can say He's greater than. Khair? But inshallah, let's dig into Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim with a salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Muhammad. Bism is the contraction of bi-ism, easy. When they say bism, the ba with the kasra can mean either by or with something. So when we're saying in the translation, in the name of Allah, Bismillah, we are not translating correctly. What we should be saying and thinking is by the name of Allah. And some scholars say, okay, by the name. Does that mean that, are we calling Him Allah or are we speaking to Him by using the name Allah? So they'd say further than this, it's by the use of the name Allah is Bismillah. So you say Ya Allahu Akbar and you enter your salah, you do isti'adha min ash-shaytan al-la'een, and you say by the use of the name of the one who bewilders the intellect by His greatness, the one that the hearts lean towards. We said aliha and walaha, the two words that mean either you are bewildered by His greatness or that your heart leans towards Him. But the most beautiful subtleties in the basmala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's enough to call Him Rahman. From our basic understanding, if we say He's merciful, this is enough for us. Our heart rests on the name Rahman. We know that Rahman has a wide scope. Allahumma inni as'aluka bi rahmatika allati wasi'at kulla shay. We start dua kumay like this. We relax to this name Rahman. But then He comes and says Rahim. Rahman and Rahim have the same root, from the root word of Rahim. Rahim in Arabic is the womb of the mother. So why did you name yourself, and this is the root, Ya Allah? Very important question. Why? What's the nature of the womb of the mother? That whoever is in the environment of the womb of the mother gives and gives and gives and does not ask for anything in return. You are in utter safety. There is no discrimination. Every womb that carries every baby, the nature is to give. You won't find a womb unless it's an abnormality that the baby somehow survives in a womb that doesn't give. So when we return to the meanings Ar-Rahman and we return to the ahadith of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, we find that they say the word Ar-Rahman is when you have the ability to punish but you don't. It also means that you might see someone in need and Rahmah is that softening towards them. And they say that Rahmah covers everything. That's why Dua Kumail is speaking a reality. It's not just poetry. We say Rahmatika allati wasi'at kulli shay. It covers all human beings. And the narrations tell us they can be salih, a good mu'min, or a talih, someone who's corrupt. They can be kafir or mu'min. They can be whatever it is in existence, the animal kingdom, the subatomic kingdom. Everything is under the rahmah of Allah. And this is something, when you think about addressing Allah as Rahman, it resolves a lot of theological problems we have. For example, how many times have you seen the neighbor, the bigger house, the nicer clothes, more money, maybe a prettier spouse, which you shouldn't be looking at, myself too. But we think things like this. We compare. The mu'min says, the Rahman, through his name Rahman, gave him all this. And I enter my salah through this name. If I don't like what Allah has given him, how can I enter my salah through this name? He's living in the rahmatullah. So where's our sense of feeling special? We need to feel special. We want the rida of Allah Azza wa Jal. We want to feel like He's contented with us. What has He given us that is so special? We have to answer this question. Oh, He's given us a religion. Oh, but there's so many restrictions. Look at how much fun everyone else is having. This is a musibah. This is the musibah. If we enter Ashura and we're thinking this way, or we're feeling living this way, this is the musibah for us. So then he says, Ar-Rahman is for everyone. Then he says, but my Rahimiyya is for the khawas. It's for the particulars. Who are these people? The Rahimiyya of Allah Azza wa Jal is like Rahmah, except it has dawam. It's forever. It has an infinite nature. In Arabic, if you say to someone, Anta Fahman, you're a person who understands, shukran, it's a compliment. But if the person says, La, ana fahim, you're going to say, hold on there. Are you in consistent understanding of all things at all times? Let's not have any hubris here. Rahim is constant flowing, abundant mercy, abundant providence. Now, the question, do we see abundant providence in the dunya? No. We have seasons, people live, people die, money goes up, money goes down, health goes up, health goes down. Our affairs are good, our affairs are bad. So sometimes we might feel like everything is mal'oon and everything is marhum. We don't know sometimes. But Rahimiyya, because its nature is infinite, therefore who it applies to have an infinite space to deal with. They are for the people of the forever, that they forever receive from Allah Azza wa Jal. لا يقبل الله إيمان عبد إلا بولاية علي والبراءة من أعدائه. Think about this narration. That Allah, Afwan, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, he says Allah does not accept the Iman, not Islam, Iman, the true faith of a person, except with the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. For these people that have his wilayah and they're innocent from his enemies, these people have the brightest hereafter. From whichever way you want to analyze it, let's put aside every religious lecture wants to prove themselves to be more superior than the others. This is not from a place of arrogance. Let's take a look at it from a place of reality. Is there any human being greater than Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi in any respect, from any sphere of reference? Can you say someone exceeded him in a worldly way or in a spiritual way? Don't go to the Muslims, they're biased. Go to the people that author books. One book, the 100 most influential men, through all the criteria, they said Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi is the most influential man to walk this earth. And then ask yourself, who is the greatest of the students of this great, noble human being that blessed this earth? It's Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. And there is no one in the Muslim world that would even deny this fact. They would say, who is the bravest? They say Ali. They say, who is the smartest? They say Ali. Who prayed the most? They say Ali. Who married the best of the women of this world? They say Ali. Who had the best sons to ever bless this earth? After him, they say Ali. These are the people that deliver us to Rasulullah. These are the people of Iman. So the Rahimiyya is for the Mawalin of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And you find that this is the seerah of the prophets. That many of the prophets, their success was by mentioning the names of Ahl al-Kisa. And that you find in the Basmala, when you look at it, the Rahimi of Allah Azza wa Jal points to wilayah. When they say that they are the Quran, even to the extent that we have a narration that the Fatiha is the condensed version of the Quran al-Kareem, and the Basmala is the condensed version of the Fatiha, and the Ba in the Basmala is the condensed version of the Basmala, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi is the curve of the Ba, and Ali is its Nuqta. This isn't mystical. It can be mystical, and it is, but it isn't. You can understand this. What do we mean? That everything condensed in the reality of this world, وَكُلُّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ فِي إِمَامٍ مُبِينٍ. Allah has put everything in this clear Imam. He says, ask me before you lose me. Ask me before you lose me. My knowledge of the heavens exceeds my knowledge of the earth. They say, Ya Ali, you don't understand this earth? I say, no. The heavens are greater, so there's more knowledge there. That's why my understanding is greater. For you find in the Basmala the secrets to all things. So it is upon us when we say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You say, Ya Allah, by the use of that name Allah that you have said, it means that it bewilders the intellect from your greatness. That this is the name which indicates the hearts always go towards you in the worst of hardships. Naturally, in every single human being and every creation, they all lean towards this name. By the use of that name, the one who gives his providence and his mercy and his affection to all creation, and the person who exceeds in this forever, eternally, for the people that believe in him. Doesn't this sound better than in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful? But inshallah, we ask Allah Azza wa Jal that through our salah, He gives us the knowledge of what the words mean. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to let us slow down our prayer and let us think when we're praying. Every word that comes out of your mouth, utter it slowly. Try to have that presence and get used to that. It'll become second nature. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal, by the blessings of Muharram and Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam, whose very mission was to maintain the Basmala. When he entered the taf, he says, Bismillahu billah wa ala millati Rasulillah, sallallahu Allah, to bless us with the remembrance of Imam al-Husayn and the Basmala, and to hasten the reappearance of our Imam. Wa akhir da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wa salli ya rabbi ala Muhammad wa ala alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tonight, we continue this recollection, this reminiscence of the tragic saga of Muharram, commemorating the martyrdom of a great personality of Karbala, and perhaps his story outside of the family of Imam al-Hussein. His story might be the most compelling. A story of redemption and forgiveness, a story of a return to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the story of Hurr Al Tamimi radiallahu anhu. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. Hurr, as we know, was initially amongst the soldiers, the great generals of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, the bravest soldier amongst his rank, and he was tasked to bring Imam al-Hussein to Kufa as a prisoner. And so he went with a contingent of 1,000 soldiers to meet Imam al-Hussein on his journey from Medina to Kufa, intercepting him on the road. During this journey, Hurr's army experienced thirst because they've traveled for a very long period. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam's advisors advise him at this point, finish them off now where it's easy, where you have the advantage, where they are still thirsty. But Imam al-Hussein refuses. He refuses to draw the first blood. He refuses to initiate bloodshed. He even goes so far as to share the water in his own retinue with Hurr and his soldiers. And the one who is tasked with giving this water is none other than Abi Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, as-saqa, the giver of water, the distributor of water. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. Now, Hurr at this point, he has recognition, he has knowledge, he has love of the Ahlul Bayt in his heart, especially when he meets Imam al-Hussein and experiences his personality and his generosity firsthand. Especially when he hears the khutbah of Imam al-Hussein to all of the people, Imam al-Hussein extolling the virtues of the Ahlul Bayt, exposing the tyranny, the cruelty, the despotism of Yazid la'natullah alayh, reciting verses in the Quran so eloquently. قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ إِلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. Hurr's heart, it's moving in the right direction, but it's not there yet. He is still forcing Imam al-Hussein not to travel to Kufa necessarily, but not to go away from it either. They settle to go somewhere in between. And during this time, an argument erupts between the two of them, where Imam al-Hussein tells him, "May your mother mourn over your demise." As Imam al-Hussein's family members and companions are surrounded and besieged in Karbala, Hurr is completely at odds with himself. He is regretting his decision so greatly, especially when he looks upon his soldiers throwing water around like it's nothing. They're using buckets and buckets of water to cool the hooves on their horses, while the children of Abi Abdullah are crying, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. Father, the thirst is killing us. As Hurr listens to these cries, he is completely withdrawn from himself. He is completely disgusted by what he has done, and he asks Umar ibn Sa'ad, "Are you really going to kill Imam al-Hussein? Are you really going to kill the grandson of Rasulullah?" And no matter how much he tries, Umar ibn Sa'ad does not desist from his course. He is determined to continue with his actions because he is for the glory of this world and has no awareness of what awaits him in the Akhirah. So Hurr realizes at this point that he is on the precipice between the hellfire and the heaven. And so he rushes towards Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, bowing his head low, begging for his forgiveness. And Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam forgives Hurr. He gives Hurr permission to fight, and Hurr draws his sword and he charges towards the enemy. He begins to strike them down one by one. Dozens of soldiers fall at the sword of Hurr. But he is surrounded by the enemy and he is killed, screaming for Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. Hurr screams for his master Abi Abdullah, and Imam al-Hussein arrives. He places the head of Hurr upon his lap, and he is crying and crying. He says to him, "You are Hurr, you are free, just as your mother had named you. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un." Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein. Everyone rise. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya
Hussein, Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein.
Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya أيها المغفور. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya سيف النور. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya أيها المغفور. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya سيف النور. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya أيها المغفور. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya سيف النور. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya أيها المغفور. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya سيف النور. You stood amongst the evil ones, against the Prophet's sons. You stopped the son of Fatima, forcing him to Karbala. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya أيها المغفور. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr,
Ya Saif al-Nur. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya ayyuhal maghfur.
Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Saif al-Nur. The heat and the lack of water made all your soldiers falter. Even with his noble few, Hussein could have finished you, yet you would not die on this day, for mercy was Hussein's way. Quenching your thirst with water, he would never begin slaughter. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya ayyuhal maghfur. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Saif al-Nur. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya ayyuhal maghfur. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Saif al-Nur. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya ayyuhal maghfur. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Saif al-Nur. You looked on the face of Hussein and saw pure light within. His mercy struck you in the heart. His words made you fall apart. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya ayyuhal maghfur. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Saif al-Nur. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya ayyuhal maghfur. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr,
Ya Saif al-Nur.
Sukaina screamed al-Atash, breaking her father's heart. You heard the cries and the pain of the family of Hussein. You were the bravest of your men. Yet you trembled and shook, then faith in Allah and His Imam took hold of you towards the very end. Hussein forgave all you had done. Your soul's great battle was one, turning towards the enemy. You showed them you were truly free. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Ayyuhal Maghfur, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Sayf al-Nur, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Ayyuhal Maghfur,
Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr,
Ya Sayf al-Nur. Fighting till your very last breath, you cut through men, brought them death. With tears filling his pure eyes, Hussein mourned your tragic demise. You were as your mother named you. Hurr, the free one, had come through. We remember your name this day and ask Allah to show us the way. Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Ayyuhal Maghfur, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Sayf al-Nur, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Ayyuhal Maghfur, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Sayf al-Nur, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr,
Ya Ayyuhal Maghfur, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Hurr, Ya Sayf al-Nur.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya
Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. उसने दरिया से पुकारा है मुझे, उसने दरिया से पुकारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे, उसने दरिया से पुकारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे, उसने दरिया से पुकारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे। चलो अकबर मेरे हमराह चलो, मिलती अब मुझको नहीं रहा चलो, ये बड़े गम का इशारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे, उसने दरिया से पुकारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे। सानिए हैदर करार है वो, मेरे लश्कर का अलमदार है वो दिलो जान से प्यारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे, उसने दरिया से पुकारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे। मेरा नासिर मेरे लश्कर की कमर, मेरा भाई बनी हाशिम का कमर, उसके बाजू का सहारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे, उसने दरिया से पुकारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे। अरे क्यों नजर आता नहीं मुझको अलम, मर गया क्या मेरा सकाए हरम, अब कहाँ जीना गवारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे, उसने दरिया से पुकारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे। हाय जुल्म बेखौफ करेगा लश्कर, और ज़ैनब की छिनेगी चादर, इसी एहसास ने मारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे, उसने दरिया से पुकारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे। अरे दिल से जीने की लगन छूट गई, अरे दिल से जीने की लगन छूट गई, उसके मरने से कमर टूट गई, ऐसा गम दे के सिधारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे, उसने दरिया से पुकारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे। गिर पड़े कह के हुसैन इब्ने अली, तेरे मरने ने मेरे शेर जरी, मौत से पहले ही मारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे, उसने दरिया से पुकारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे, उसने दरिया से पुकारा है मुझे, उसकी आवाज ने मारा है मुझे। या हुसैन 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 या हुसैन।
ما شاء الله ما شاء الله. أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين. رحم الله من ذكر القائمة من آل محمد. Please rise with a salat على محمد وآل محمد. Just a request from the attendants. If you guys can move forward over here, there's a lot of space. Side to side, inshallah, we say the name Abu Abdullah al-Hussein together. Please, don't be shy. This is the majlis for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, not for anyone. So everyone be part of it, inshallah. Barakallah. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. حسين مولاه 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 مولاه حسين مولاه حسين مولاه حسين مولاه مولاه حسين مولاه حسين مولاه حسين مولاه مولاه حسين مولاه حسين مولاه سيء حسين ما شاء الله حسين مولاه حسين I want to hear your voices. حسين حسين again حسين حسين مولاه 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 مولاه حسين مولاه حسين مولاه حسين مولاه مولاه حسين مولاه حسين مولاه حسين مولاه مولاه حسين مولاه أبو فضيل 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 فضيل أبو فضيل أبو فضيل فضيل أبو فضيل أبو فضيل أبو فضيل فضيل أبو فضيل علي الأكبر علي أكبر علي أكبر علي سيء with me علي ما شاء الله علي علي أكبر علي أكبر علي أكبر علي أكبر هلا علي أكبر علي أكبر علي أكبر علي أكبر أكبر علي أكبر علي أكبر علي أكبر أكبر علي أكبر علي أكبر أكبر علي أكبر مهدي مولاه مهدي مولاه مهدي مولاه مهدي This is your imam مهدي مولاه 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 مولاه مهدي مولاه مهدي مهدي مولى مولى مهدي مولى مهدي مولى مهدي مولى مولى مهدي مولى Hussein, where do we go? Hussein, if we're alone. Hussein, they see, they know. Hussein, 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 where do we go? Hussein, if we're alone. Hussein, they see, they know. Hussein, Hussein, Ya Mawla, Ya Aba Abdillah, Ya Mawla, Ya Aba Abdillah, Ya Mawla, Ya Aba Abdillah. Say it to Karbala, Ya يا أبا عبد يا مولا يا أبا عبد الله يا مولا يا أبا عبد You're the man who stood alone in Karbala. You are the son of Fatima to Zahra. You're the man who stood alone in Karbala. You are the son of Fatima to Zahra. You stood and saw Zainab al-Kubra. You held the pain and saw Zainab al-Kubra, taking care of your daughter Ruqayya. The pain must break your heart, the pain, fighting for what's right, the pain, orphans cry inside. Hussein, Hussein, Ya Mawla, Ya Aba Abdillah, Ya Ya Aba Abdillah, Ya Mawla, Ya Aba Abdillah. Say it with me, Ya Aba Abdillah, Ya Ma sha Allah, Ya Aba Abdillah, Ya Mawla, Ya Aba Abdillah. You stood for the right of Allah and Islam. You stood for the right of Allah and Islam. You held the power of dua and iman. You held the power of dua and iman. Every step you took in battle was a sign. Every step you took in battle was a sign. But instead they turned against you, please define. The day blood had to be shed, the day, look where it's led, the day the world has said, Hussein, Hussein, Ya Mawla, Ya Aba Abdin, Ya Mawla, Ya Aba Abdin, Ya Mawla, Ya Aba. I guarantee you, you have twice as loud as that. Say it, say it. Ya Mawla, Ya Aba Abdin, Ya Mawla, Ya Aba Abdillah, Ya Mawla, Ya Aba Abdillah. جماعة صلوات.
توجه زيارة. السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا باعث الهدى، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوسيجين، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا مولاي وعلى أنصارك المستشهدين معك جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الزعفاء والفقراء، السلام عليك يا مغيث الشيعة والزوار في يوم الجزاء، السلام عليك يا أنيس النفوس، السلام عليك أيها المدفون بإرزتوس السلطان أبو الحسن علي بن موسى الرزا الرازي بالقدر والقضاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان الأمان الأمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا قام الكفر والطغيان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وزهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم لعن قتلة الحسين وأولاد الحسين وصحاب الحسين.